I'm Brock,
I'm Trisha,
and this is Fast Lane Living.
because life doesn't slow down. I'm recording.
Hey guys, welcome to Fast Lane Living.
Hey.
Yeah, welcome back. This might be episode 6. We're getting into them now.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
6.
If you're listening, and if you listened to the previous ones, thank you for listening, and
Yes.
hope you enjoy them. Yeah, last week we talked about Wallaway, our little baby child invention, and so yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Hopefully you guys learn a little something there about what we kind of have going on with it. If you got any questions, definitely feel free to ask. Yeah, so it's a big part of our life. And so
For sure. We were able to get one of the samples.
Yep, we have one of the samples made by the tooling that's going to be pumping out all of them.
So that was really exciting.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's well made. Everything's wonderful in it. We're going to test it out a little bit and kind of see if there's any tweaks that need to be made. And so, yeah, we're really excited about that. I just went and picked that one up today from CAD. So that was great. I'm looking at you, beautiful.
I know you're looking at me.
Not the computer, I swear.
We'll
keep
get used
staring
to this
over
podcast.
at the computer while we're doing this, and just like a fly and going toward the light. I gotta look at this thing. That's just how it is.
Well, we're all, we're new to this, so it's been super fun. Trying new things in each episode, or different audio, different video, figuring out what works best. What is
sooner than later we'll have dual cameras, so it'll be each of our own cameras, and we're just kind of taking things like, sort of one step at a time. But yeah, it'll be
right. So Brock will start looking at the camera pretty soon here someday.
I'm looking at you, beautiful.
I know you're looking
My
at me.
goodness.
You look at me as much as you want.
These people are driving to work right now. They don't care where I'm looking at. Nobody.
You don't know for sure they're driving to work.
Nobody's even watching. Okay, I'm going to describe what I'm wearing for the people that aren't watching. I'm wearing a pink shirt.
No, you're not.
Well, they're not watching. I'm telling you. Trisha's wearing nothing.
No, I am also not.
Tune in.
Not wearing nothing.
You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. Sure.
No, so in this episode,
welcome. Yeah.
We just figured that we would talk a little bit about, we're parents, we're busy, life's crazy, just kind of like our experience with what's going on currently and what we have, just sort of like on our plate, like on a helicopter view of what's going on right now in this season
of our life. I always feel like your life kind of, I like that idea that your life has seasons.
Yep.
And so
I like to say that
each season is its own thing. This season has been seasony, spicy.
I like slap your mama. Yeah, it's like, holy crap. Something's pulling at you from every direction. And so we're doing everything we can to keep up. And, including this. Just before we came up here, we're both working hard, grinding hard. I was driving to CAD and back even when I have repairs in the garage that are just, I'm trying to keep them going forward, but they're just wanting to flip upside down on themselves. And so it's, here we are, took a little break during the day to kind of pump out this podcast, and you got to go from the mode of just working to all of a sudden like, hey, I'm here to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's and like then you have to
right after
switch gears.
Right. And then, we both have places to be immediately when we're done with this, and then more places to be after that. And it's crazy right now. Crazy time right now. We have 2 kids. One's a senior in high school this year, and one's a freshman in high school. And so they both do their own activities, right? And of course, like I've heard a lot, I think is very similar to most people who have 2 kids. They tend to be very different, and which is fine. They're both amazing. But they're both very busy. Therefore, we're very busy. And we're at the end of the year here. Graduation is actually in 2 days from the time we're recording this podcast. And so for our oldest, and it has gotten really, I did not know what to expect with the senior year stuff. And then towards this end of this year, and then of course our freshman, she plays softball, and she plays for the school as well as she plays on a summer ball team. And so that's back to back to back to back in that, and all that goes into that. And volunteering there and doing fundraisers for, the senior, and volunteering for his different things and what he's got going on.
And then Trisha took on the role of making the video for the whole softball
banquet
for the school, which is just awesome, by the way.
It was actually, it was a lot of fun, it was fun making it. It was a fun thing, but it was honestly more work than I thought it would be. And
how many hours do you think you have into it? You edited an entire video of like the 4 different teams for the school with the senior send off, and then kind of showing each individual player along the whole way.
Right.
How many hours?
Well, there's 104 slides to the thing, and then each slide has, different stuff on it. But I don't know, I'd say probably like 20 hours.
I would bet so, yeah.
But it was good. It was fun, and I'm excited for them to see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, everybody you shared it with so far has been like developing rain near their eyelids for some reason. I'm not sure what's the deal.
Man, I cried many a tears making that video, I tell you what.
Well, that's for sure. She did a sweet little thing where the senior send-off, she had the parents all do a voice recording and send it over of kind of like, hey, sweetheart, we're proud of you and all you've done, the whole thing. And I thought that's what each one was going to say, but I listened to a handful of them, choked up.
Right?
Like,
oh, I know.
Jeez. So when they play this thing for the whole crew, these little, might as well pass around a box of tissues.
And that's tonight, right? So that's so the banquet's tonight, and then and the graduation's in a couple days, and we've just been going, it feels like 110 miles an hour for a really long time.
A lot of it is softball because that is a daily requirement,
Yeah, especially when they're not driving yet.
Yeah, she doesn't drive.
So it's got to be the pick up, the drop off, the drive here, drive there, practice, games, all that. And I think I definitely don't want to make it sound like I don't love it, right?
It's a season.
It's a season,
because what's going to happen as soon as she gets her license,
right?
Your car time with her is
gone.
Nearly over. Unless you're like, hey girl, you want to go to Target? I'll get you some Starbucks. And she's like, well, we can go together.
Okay.
Do you want to browse around Target?
Right.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. I was at Target. Yeah, sure. We all went to Target for a quick little stop last night, and I stayed in the car because I didn't have any business in there. The girls went in, had to grab a couple things.
Yeah.
I did a little observation from the parking lot. I noticed a lot of cars showing up, and half the cars were single guys running the store. And man, they were in the store and back out to their cars quickly. It's like these girls seem to browse around Target a lot. Is that a thing?
Yes. This isn't new information, babe. Like when I go with you, like I'm not browsing because you're not browsing.
I go there to get what I need.
I know. And when I'm there with you, I know that that's like not my browsing time. But when I go with me or with
when you go with you,
when I go with me, for sure,
I know what you're up to.
I do my browsing.
I know what you're up to.
Sometimes you just want to look around.
And I don't care.
Right.
I get
Are you
it.
sure?
I understand the concept. Hear that? Just radio silence.
Let's go there. So yeah, just doing life 110 miles an hour for what feels like a pretty significant amount of time. But I think a big part of it is that it'll go away.
Well, the season
eventually.
will change.
The season will change.
And it'll be on to something different.
Miss the kids. So I'm trying to enjoy as much as I can with them, and still handle what needs to be handled during the day and for work and for home and kids and life and all that. I was actually having a conversation with my aunt the other day, and she was talking about work, right? Like, and she retired recently, which is super awesome. Love that she got to retire. Cannot wait till I can retire and that kind of stuff. But we were just talking about how you look at time a little bit differently when you don't have like a certain schedule. Because we were talking about, I was telling her something about like I have to get some work done or something like that. And it wasn't even necessarily like for my traditional job, but it was just stuff I had to get done. And I realized that I just kind of start to call everything work. And it's not necessarily like work in the sense of like my 9-to-5 type of job where I'm getting money, but it's like work I have to do. Like if I lived on a farm maybe, or something where what you have to do for your daily stuff, I have just work to get done. And I realized too that like for me, working hours are all the hours maybe.
It's just,
or none of the hours
whatever,
maybe.
it's whatever
Right.
task needs to be handled.
Right. Like whatever needs to
not
be
really
done, get that
aligned.
done. Yeah. So, and it's different. I guess different for other people. I guess I didn't realize when you're in your own world and you're doing your own thing, you don't realize how the way you think about things change as you go.
Well, yeah, you're in your own world doing your thing. You know, guy next to you in traffic's in his old world doing something completely different. Everybody's all just intertwined together and trying to live and do our things. You know, it's like look over at the guy next to you in traffic right now. You know, everybody's got something different. You know, and heading a different path, and they're all looking out for themselves. And so, yeah, the kids got graduation coming up in a couple of days. So all of a sudden, we're gonna have a high school graduate. It seems like I remember the first day he was getting on the bus for kindergarten with his little Ninja Turtle backpack, and bus driver all welcoming in for the first day. Is like, all right, you got our little guy. Take care of him. And now he's driving on his own, doing all kinds of great things.
Yeah, he's a pretty amazing kid. And I mean, both of our kids are amazing in their own ways. They're different, like I said, but he's definitely he's a very educational path, or I don't know, he's very focused on education and school and those kind of paths of kind of the arts and education and arts, and he's done just awesome things and gotten some really cool recognition.
Yeah, just this last year in the school. What is that award called they just
It was
gave
the
him?
Citizenship Award.
You won the Citizenship Award they give to two people.
A boy and a girl, right? A guy and a girl from.
So it's kind of like the all-around
senior.
Kid Award. So he got that, which is awesome.
Which
we
is
didn't
really
even
awesome.
realize what any
And that
of that
came
was
with a scholarship, some scholarship money.
Yeah.
So yeah, he won several scholarships, which we're really proud of him for, and won some pretty good recognition from the school. And he's also headed out to do some competition.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Yeah,
or,
he does theater lighting.
He does theater lighting, yeah. And so he's going to be doing what they call Spotlight. And so they're featured in Spotlight. And he actually went a step above this year. Outside of like the program that they do at school, he applied for this position, which they choose 6 students out of the entire state. They're seniors, and they apply for this position in tech there. So they're going to be helping to run either the stage management, lighting, or sound. So he's one of the 6. He's one of the 6. Yeah, he had to do a whole interview process and submit a portfolio and the whole thing, and he was selected as one of the 6. So that's going to be coming up here at the beginning of the next month, and then potentially he could win a trip to New York, all expenses paid from that.
Well, what they do on the last day of this week-long grueling kind of shadowing experience that he's about to do with one of the 6 here, at the end they have a little, what do they call, like a little gala,
after party,
and
then
they actually announce that 2 of them are going to go to New York.
Yeah.
I don't even know all the details with New York. Right. I'll probably say the wrong thing.
It's studying theater there. I don't know
theater
exactly.
in New York. Yeah. You want to say like he's going to Broadway. Right. It's going to be like, swans and we don't know all the details.
We don't know
totally. So 2 of these 6 people are going to get chosen that night based on what happens during that week. And they're going to get sent on an all expense paid trip to New York. And so we got high hopes for the guy.
We do, yeah. And even if he is not one of those 2,
doesn't matter.
I mean, just even being selected for this, I don't even know what they call it, right? It's like it's like a career track, I believe, or something like that. And so the Spotlight program that they do of being selected for this was just amazing, and watching him do those things. And he composed a song for his entire band class.
Yeah, he asked the teacher, hey, can I compose a song?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, yeah. And so it was like a 5-minute song
for the whole
band class learned it and played it, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So we've been watching him make big strides this year. And then, I don't know, having a senior, right? I haven't done this yet. I knew it was coming.
Oh, you haven't? Well, I have.
Well, I'm talking to other people than just you.
Senior.
Right. Oh, gosh. Now we're hitting the microphone. Yeah. So, I mean, I tried real hard to prepare. I don't know that I'm ready though. I don't know that you can be. I don't
Well,
know.
he's going to college in
Yeah.
state.
He is.
It's
That
it's
is.
not at home, but it's in state,
Yeah.
and so it's, I think it's a little gap between him being here and him being gone. So
Yeah.
I think it works out good,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be really good, and it'll be a good transition because I know he intends to eventually venture out to seek even higher education
Yep.
elsewhere,
Yep.
and so
He wants to
that's
end up with the space program
yeah, and yeah,
in some fashion.
some way,
So,
yep, some way, shape, or form he
yep.
wants to work with the space
And you
program.
never
So,
know, things change along the way.
mhm.
I mean, that's what he's been
Oh
talking
gosh,
about
yeah,
for a long time, but he goes through this, goes through that. You never
yep,
know. You
yep,
just don't know
you
where
don't
life's
know,
going to take you. So,
yeah,
keep doing cool things
right.
and
But when he does do things, he does them really well, and he puts a lot of effort and
yeah,
pride into what he does do. So
you know.
whatever he decides he's going to do, I think he'll do
It's
well.
like he's like, I'm not gonna do this unless I'm really ready to master it.
Right, that is true. Sometimes he doesn't want to wing things either, but that's how it goes with that,
I have
right?
that feeling a lot too.
Right, all the goods and the and then we've got our daughter, and she's doing always doing great things. She's a great student as well. And
She's
just
athleta,
yes, a little bit more of our
a
athlete.
little lady athlete.
Yes, she is. She even talks about, right now aspires to do something in sports medicine, whether it's some kind of physical therapy or a sports trainer. She really likes the idea of right now, like doing something with a sports team as like a sports trainer, something like that. So,
Yeah, again, you never know where life takes you. Freshman in high school. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't even fathom what I was gonna try to do until sometime through my senior year. So
yeah,
it's like you might like that now. It might change. It might
totally might
be.
change, right?
Well, you guys found a really good. What do you call her? A chiropractor?
You mean she is a technically a chiropractor? Yeah,
Okay, but she
right.
does a lot of stuff, right? She's like
Right.
she's like the
She
plus
does
version.
needling, she's certified in needling, cupping, scraping, manual manipulation. I
She'll
think they
scrape you
yeah,
manually.
right.
I'm telling
She
you.
steps on me.
She does that thing where she
She
taps her
does.
elbow and then drops down.
Sometimes it feels like it. I wouldn't yeah, but it's been really nice since we found her. But yeah,
Well,
we found her
yeah,
a
and
little
then
while
Taylor
back.
Taylor likes
Yes.
her, and so then it kind of, I think, inspired her to have the idea that she kind of wanted to lean down a path like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because well, how it all rolled out was, and then we a couple years back, she kept we were having a little trouble with her because she would call home from a lot, want to come home from school, and she was complaining about headaches. And we're talking like 2-3 days per week. She was complaining of these just wretched headaches. And like any mom, I was like, I didn't know how much are you? Do you just not want to be in school? Is there something going on? What's the deal? And we kind of went back and forth with it, and we were struggling with it. And then I actually took her in. I had a chiropractor appointment for myself. And I was like, you know what? Let's go see why don't I see if we can squeeze you in, and we'll see what they say, and maybe you need a little tension adjustment or something. And so we were able to get her in, and we went, and they put her on the table, and this was a different place I was going at the time. And the chiropractor was like, "Has she ever been checked for scoliosis?" And I was like, "Not that I know of. Why?" And she said, "Well, I think she should probably get an x-ray." And so that kind of started this whole thing of she was having some issues with her neck and her traps specifically. And she actually had torticollis when she was a baby. And if anybody knows torticollis, it's like this deal where one side of your neck usually or the other kind of like won't let itself release. So you keep your head's kind of stuck to one side. It won't let you go too
Release.
far from that. Yeah, release it. So you do a bunch of physical therapy. So she did a bunch of physical therapy as a baby and got that. And I thought, oh, that's done deal. And so when we went and got her x-rays, they even noted on the thing that you could tell that there was torticollis going on as well. But she didn't technically have scoliosis, but she did have curvatures of her spine, upper and lower, and it kind of is like an S. And so it was definitely creating a lot of muscle tension, especially as she started to play sports. That's when it actually, she started to get the
Working out.
headaches and working out and being more athletic. She started to have problems with it. So we actually, I know someone who's unfortunately had a lot of back problems and surgeries and things throughout his life. And I asked his advice on if he knew kind of what's a good path for us to go to kind of manage this. And then he pointed me to Umit. And that's how we found Umit down in Edina down there. And so Edina.
Down there in
Down
Edina.
Edina.
We don't get down there much, but sometimes we do.
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, so we ventured down there, and she does a great job. And it's all encompassing, right? So it's not just chiropractic care, but it's also cupping and whatever they need. And that's what I really like about that service is what she looks at you and says, okay, what is it that you need to help you feel better with what you have going on right now? And that's how she handles it. It's not just a in and out. It's not a 10-minute appointment. It's not a 15. It's a half hour to hour long appointment.
It's
every
high
time.
quality.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is the name of her business? Should we give her a plug? And then
oh my gosh,
we
can give me a second, because I always say the name not in the right order. So let me look it up really quick.
That's okay.
But yeah, that's how she kind of got interested in that kind of.
Yeah, she liked the program she had there.
Yeah.
And then you meet like a bodybuilder, and so she's like very into her macros and like really, like precise with all that.
Yes.
Taylor, I think she liked that.
She does.
Because that's cool when people do that. It's like when you really go through and do it, it's like that's the hardest part.
Yes. Yeah. And she's right. And
you could work out for 6 hours straight, and you're like, oh, the food thing.
The food is the hardest part.
That's me. I'm just
of any fitness.
Food is not like, I don't know. Foods
you can't outwork a bad diet,
right?
And that's the hardest part, because it is called. I do have it here. So it is called Chiropractic Healing Arts Center.
Nice. Yeah, so if anybody's looking for a high quality place, anything like that,
check it out.
Personal reference, we highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it.
Trish and Taylor said hi.
Yeah, for sure. But that is for the fitness thing. We talk about fitness a lot when we go to see you meet, because I'm always curious. I ask a lot of questions to people, I try not to like sound nosy or insulting, but I'm curious. I want to know. So I tend to ask questions. And I actually asked her one time when she's getting ready for a show, because that's when she has to be the most strict with her diet, is when she's getting ready for a show. So I asked her, like, what do you do if like your friends are going out or you're invited to dinner somewhere, and she's like, I bring my own food. And I was like,
you have to,
right?
You can't rely at a point when it's that strict, like you're like competing,
right?
You can't rely on going somewhere and getting some buttered up, just
right. Yep.
They make it so it tastes good. They don't make it because it's the healthiest thing you can get.
Right. And those things taste delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Like you want a steak, they're gonna melt a whole stick of butter on top of it.
On it. Yeah.
Garlic.
And it's gonna taste delicious.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great. But it's not just like, I'm getting protein.
Necessarily. But and that's the thing, like I changed to ghee, right, which is clarified butter, to cook my steak with, right? So when I make steak at home, I try to eat a little healthier if we can. I do the best we can. We're not perfect by any means.
Wonderful cook.
And so when I make steak at home, I cook it with coconut oil and ghee in the pan versus just regular butter. And I think that's worked really good. If you guys haven't said a word about noticing any difference in how good it is.
I was like, is this ghee? And she was like, no, I'm busted.
He doesn't even know what ghee is.
What, the ghee? I thought it was the neighbor. Talking about the neighbor?
No, this guy.
What the heck?
Oh, yeah. So, and you can just, things like that is still really good. It just tends to be, yes, ghee is a little more expensive than a stick of butter, or tallow. That's the other, big one. Beef tallow is cooking with that it's really good. That's actually what McDonald's used to cook their fries in. That's why everybody used to love them so much. But it's, they found a cheaper option. Unfortunately, that's a lot less healthy for us, or, for our bodies. And so the beef tallow is out. The seed oils are in, or the different, oils, pressed oils are in. And there's all kinds of different stuff that they say.
High quantity, low quality.
Yeah, unfortunately. But hopefully, and fitness is hard, right? Staying fit in this busy, crazy world.
I'm trying to fit this Big Mac in my mouth.
Right? Exactly.
Fitness ain't hard. Watch this. Yeah. No, keeping fit is hard, man. I'm not trying to say I'm fit. When I'm in the shop, I I do a lot of moving.
Ooh,
It's
yes.
kind of like a working out with no structure to it. It's like
Right.
the whole thing is lifting tires, doing this, doing that, picking this up,
Right.
just everything.
You do a lot of you burn a lot of calories during the day in just your normal working duties.
I agree. If I try to implement a heavy duty workout on top of this, I think I just get really tired, like really tired halfway through the day. I take a nap type of tired.
Well, I think you'd have to eat a lot more too.
Yeah, that's the thing. Just a ton. And so, maybe I'm not doing it the best way right now, but
When we've gone up and down, I mean, we've gone through a whole many years of fitness journey, I think.
Yeah. Throughout I'm 42 now, and I want to say I pretty much worked out throughout my whole 40s, and we've done all kinds of different things.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't work out for a while. And I mean, there was definitely, that wasn't something when we were like dating and stuff. We did sometimes, but it wasn't necessarily like fitness wasn't.
It was like quotations, like working out.
Right. Yeah. Right. And it was like, it wasn't necessarily something we were prioritized, like health and fitness. We were pretty young. We started dating really young. So, and then I think it wasn't until after kids, we had the 2 kids. Definitely.
And we got into BMX racing, and then all of a sudden you're kind of like, wow, I kind of have a
desire
I need to get
be
stronger if I want to get faster. And then I think that was the easiest time to really be like serious about working out. It was like you have goals.
Yeah.
And
we started working out regularly a little bit before that, because I think it was right after your dad passed.
Man, it was. My dad passed away, and that's a shitty time. I was 29, and I remember seeing his death certificate because we had to print out a grip load of those stupid things to go and hand over to the dentist and the doctor and the barber and everybody else, and so on the bottom of the death certificate it says what happened or what their ailments were or whatever, and it was like heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and like maybe one other thing, man. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, okay. Your dad was young. My dad was 63 when he passed. He was 6'4", like between 300 and 350 pounds, like big for like man. The whole time I knew him, so he was a big guy. But like when he was younger, like my age, he was fit. Like he was in the army, he was fit, he was slim. He was always like a little bit bigger guy because when you're like 6'2", like huge paws for hands, you're not like sculpted, but he was like a bigger dude. Like you'd be like, that's a big dude, right? 6'4", like you can't really miss that.
Yeah, he was a big guy.
Yeah. And so when I seen all this stuff on that death certificate that said all those terrible things, I was like, man, if he was thin when he was my age, that could be me.
Yeah.
That could be me coming up. It doesn't just happen overnight. And so I decided to start my fitness journey at that point. And and that, worked out, and then kind of like maintain and just kind of like live life, do the BMX, and like kind of it helped out with a lot of things. And it's always good for you, just life in general.
For sure. And I don't think, it was a great, I mean, I shouldn't say great time but it was the right time for us too, I think, to look at that. Taylor was almost 2.
She was small.
So I was a little over almost 2 years out of having our last child. And I definitely had put on some weight. He says no. Yes, what? I did. I put on quite a bit of weight, and I'm not shy about it. I'll be totally candid. And
it happens. You're a woman, right? And you had a child.
I had 2, right? And I mean, in the first one, I went from being 128 pounds before I got pregnant to being 220 pounds when I had him. So I didn't keep all of that on by any means. A lot of it did come off right away, but I definitely was not back down to that 128 by any means. And then a couple of years later, I had another child, and then back up to about that 200-pound mark. And for somebody who's 5'2", that's a decent amount of weight at 200 pounds. So I was pretty unhappy. I struggled taking it off.
Nowhere ever in your life was that normal for you.
No.
This was never. Like you were thin always.
And
then this came about this way, and you were like, okay.
Which I think is really common for a lot of women. Right?
Definitely.
Like it's easy before you have kids.
Let's rewind. There is nothing wrong with this.
No.
Whether it's you or anybody out there or whoever, like This is normal.
Is totally normal.
You just buried a child.
Right.
Good
right.
job. Like, fucking thank you.
Right. Totally normal.
You are a rock star.
I just made a human.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's
for sure.
I've never done that.
Right. It was, and that's what it was. But I did struggle taking off the weight, just like any other mom. You're busy. You've got trying to take care of your baby. You're trying to even get a shower in. Whether you're working or not working, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're working outside of the house full time or you have help or no help, it doesn't matter. It's crazy being a new mom. And then when you have 2 kids and an infant and a 3-year-old, like how in the world are you going to get that? It's really difficult to find the time and figure out how it looks for you to be able to get fitness into your routine or to be able to have a workout.
Right.
Or
if you're lucky, you can fit a little applesauce in your mouth.
Right. Right. And it's like most of the way you eat is just pure convenience at that point. And it's really difficult. And so, I mean, yes, unfortunately, but for us, it took that really big wake up call. It was kind of like we didn't have a choice. We had to figure out how to make this something that we're going to integrate into our life. And that's what we did. I think for anybody that wants to lose a significant amount of weight or just become healthier, right? Just be more fit and more healthy, no matter what your weight is at, just feel better. It really is a lifestyle change.
Yeah, it really is. The word diet is kind of, I don't really like it, because the idea of a diet is like, oh, I'm going to change this for a certain period of time. And then once things are like maybe where I want them to be, then I'm going to go back to what I was doing. Like it really is a lifestyle change. You have to find the foods that are right for you, and then maybe some of them you don't like, and you don't have to eat those ones. A blender does a great thing. You can mix the ones you don't like with
some
things you do like, and that
great.
blender will trick you. Yeah, so
yeah,
we're no pros at it.
But
definitely, I think it is a shift in your lifestyle.
Is that people expect there is not perfection in this,
right?
Like nobody's perfect at this, and there's no like it's not a. It's a marathon, I guess what I'm trying to say, right? Like you can't judge it by the 20 yards at a time.
No, and if I think back on like small changes that we've made, and again, we're not perfect in any way. Please don't think that we're just saying what we're up to. Okay, so like let's say you have hamburgers multiple days a week, right? Hamburgers are easy to grill. Anybody can do it, no problem. Well, let's say you stopped having hamburgers, or maybe just had them like one night a week, and then you had chicken breasts, or you had some kind of fish, or pick your pork, pick your protein.
I think one of the biggest things is being able to cook at home.
And cooking at home, right? Like we already said about how, the other foods, you can get the same food, but the way they prepare it is going to be what changes how healthy it is for you.
Right, it really is.
If you look at a menu when you go out to eat, like an actual dinner meal anywhere, it's got to be like each one is like average well over 1,000 calories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like some are like multiple thousands of calories in one meal.
Right.
It's like, what?
Yes.
Wow. And that may not be full buttered, full whatever.
Right. That might be pared down to whatever they have to technically put on there, right? Like I don't know what the rules are.
But then they want you to return as a return customer,
right.
so they're going to not put the quarter stick of butter on there, but 2 sticks of butter on it.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, if you go to a steakhouse and it's dry and no good, why would you go back, right? And so, unfortunately,
and that doesn't mean we never eat at restaurants either.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes I go eat the buttery steak.
Yep.
And I don't feel bad about it either. That's the other thing I think. Stop feeling bad about the times you do go eat it. Don't even call it a cheat meal. It's just what you ate that day.
Well, and if you're going to go out and you go out with somebody, enjoy your time together.
Enjoy your time. There's nothing wrong.
Chat about this and that. Let somebody else prepare the food, and you're going to exchange money for food at that point, and enjoy your time together.
Right.
It's what it is. You can choose whatever you want to choose on the menu.
Right. And I think the biggest thing we did is we tried to just make a lot better choices at home where we could control.
Yeah.
And then it is nice because I do like to cook.
Yeah,
it does make it easier for me.
And she does do most of the cooking.
I enjoy it. So it's, it's actually something I like to do. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like to cook. Honestly, as somebody who does like to cook, there's a lot of really simple recipes you can do that are really healthy and tasty. Yeah. Simple chicken breasts, 425 in the oven for 23 minutes.
Yep. Make sure they're
you can season them.
Make sure they're on 160, 65 when you pull them.
Done. They're moist, tender, good. really juicy, really healthy for you. You can season them with any kind of different seasonings you want. Sometimes I'll even put different ones differently on the pan. We'll have 6 or 8 chicken breasts, and I might do 2 in a seasoning, 2, 2, and 2, and different seasonings, and
she might
mix
do
it up.
3 in 1. You never know.
It might get
It's
crazy sometime. But and then I always make extra, or try to. As the kids gotten older, we tend to eat a little bit more, so extra is hard.
Put it in some Tupperware.
But then you put in
eat
some
it
Tupperware for lunch. You can do shredded chicken with it. Shredded chicken tacos are delicious, and they can be very healthy for you and a nice meal.
Dude, take a chicken breast, shred it up with a fork or whatever. Easily make a couple tacos out of a chicken breast.
Yep. You can take your hand mixer even, like if you have a stand mixer, you can turn it on in there and it'll shred the chicken up really nice. Same with pork. Or even if you have an electric hand mixer, like you can do that too in a bowl and just get after it, shreds it up really nice for you.
Yeah.
Just a little tip for you.
It is nice. You just put it in there, turn it on, let it beat the crap out of it. And
it's all good. It's easier if it's warm. It's FYI. It does a little better job when it's warm than
always
it's
better
cold.
when it's warm. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's fitness is a big thing for a lot of people. And I feel like there's so much out there right now like so much information, and what do you want to follow? Like even our own things, like we're having some kind of health problems and not feeling too well and wasn't really understanding what was going on and had to take some avenues to figure it out, and ended up getting tested for food allergies, which I'm going to be fully transparent to everybody.
This is a good place to tell this.
Right. Like I kind of poo-pooed at food allergies for a long time, like, especially when people would be like, I'm gluten-free. That's a kind of still a big subject for me, but I won't even get into that. But I used to think oh, whatever, da-da-da. Well, then I come to find out, like I actually went in and got blood tests for this and things like that. And they tested me for food allergies, and I had 2 more prominent food allergies. There was actually quite a few that I kind of reacted to, but 2 prominent ones. Neither one would I have ever guessed in a million years. Maybe one.
You wouldn't have figured it out.
No, never. Baker's yeast and tomatoes. And I cannot tell you how much cutting those 2 foods out of my diet as best as I can has changed the way I feel literally on a daily basis.
Yep. She would have a lot of gut problems. Almost daily gut problems.
Like I always felt
and I think a lot of women do.
Sick. Yeah.
But this is big, right? Because the world is trying to rifle you full of prescriptions and medications and take this one. But then when this one has a side effect, here's another one to counteract that side effect. And it's like, we don't believe in that way of living, right? And it's like, I'm sure you need something, you need something. We're totally fine with that. But.
Right. Well, and I guess we have to go back a little bit because, Brock has watched my struggle. I had my first colonoscopy at 17 years old. So when I say I've had gut problems, I mean my whole life. I didn't know what it was like to not have a stomach ache every day. So
I always just thought it was love.
Yeah.
I
was just bursting with love.
Smiling.
I was just bloated with love. Just love on you all day.
Please don't.
I won't. I'm all good now. But he did. He watched me for most of our marriage struggle with my stomach, whether it was having heartburn, indigestion, having bloating, whatever, having to use the bathroom, not being able to use the bathroom, all the things. It was never like just normal. It was always up, down, around. And, I had been diagnosed with this, take this medication. Here's this prescription. You have GERD, you have IBS, we want to do this test. We want to do that test.
Everyone she would go to would fight against the last someone that
it
said
was so
something.
Frustrating. And finally, I just decided I actually saw a podcast and I thought, you know what, maybe this is a different route. Because the slogan of this people were, we test, we don't guess. And I was like, I kind of like that theory. I think that would be nice.
If you have all these ailments and you really don't know what's going on, I think most things come down to the fuel or the food that you put into your body.
It really does.
Right? And if you're putting the wrong stuff in your machine of a body, it's gonna clog up the gears. It's not gonna work.
Right.
It's not gonna be fast lane living.
Well, and I think some people, like I've watched you, I've actually been sort of jealous and envious. Like you've got like a gut of steel. You can eat anything any day and seems to never have any problems. I don't even know if I've barely ever seen you complain of heartburn. And so it's like, how different is that? Where I was like envious of like, man, nothing. Like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with me? I really did. Like, I spent a long time thinking there was something wrong with my gut. And it turned out that there was some other things going on. I will say there was definitely some things going on when I did get tested, because I did a pretty extensive test to figure out some gut problems. And there was a lot of things that came out with different things that probably compounded over a lot of years of not having the right answer. Right. So some of the things I was doing was actually making the problem worse. So taking proton pump inhibitors for my quote unquote acid reflux was actually making it worse, because the actual problem I had was I didn't have enough stomach acid. So I was compounding the problem by giving myself even less stomach acid. So now I actually take a vitamin. There's no prescription, and it helps produce more stomach acid, and I feel great.
Yeah.
I don't have any heartburn.
You figured that out by
testing,
doing
by doing the tests,
right,
and getting the actual answers of what is going on in there. Like, they tested all my biomes of my gut, all the things that were going on.
And now here's something, right? Because somebody might do this test or have somebody in their family that's done this test, right? And you can't go by what somebody else in your family results are. Like, my mom is allergic to tomatoes. I can't do okay, right? Because Taylor was having these same problems,
Right.
gut problems, just like Trish was describing. And it's like, to the point where it's like, all right, we have to do this.
Yeah, we have to figure out what's going on.
We're not going to guess. We have to figure this out, and we'll never get it right. We already figured that out. There's enough. You'll just never get it right. It's like guaranteeing you'll win the lottery. You're not gonna. And so we tested with her, and same thing. We found a couple of things that was like mind blowing, and it was like we were doing it all wrong before that. And so changed things up a lot of bit.
Yeah.
And
it's not that hard. I mean, yes, it is. People are like, man, how do you get around baker's yeast? Right. So yeah, I don't eat bread. That's probably one of the biggest users of yeast, except for real sourdough bread does not have baker's yeast in it. But it has to be real sourdough. It can only have 3 ingredients, which is flour, water, and salt.
And we usually find that at Aldi.
Aldi is the only place I can find real sourdough bread. A lot of times it's sold out because people are starting to figure it out.
If you ever see us at Aldi with like 36 rolls or
loaves
of bread.
That's why.
I was there one time and some old lady was giving me a hard time at the checkout aisle. I was acting like a badger, like, get away from my bread. She's like, you're crazy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But we found the bread, and so
we found the bread.
Just throw some in the freezer and then take it out as you need it.
Yeah. And it was funny because when we first changed to that, I don't even remember exactly what kind of bread we ate before that. Probably just normal bread.
I could tell you what it looked like. It was some kind of wheat.
Yeah, try to do the whole 100% whole wheat. We always did the whole wheat. But when I started getting the sourdough for myself, and then we ran out of the other bread, and so like the kids and Brock or whatever would use some of the sourdough, and they're like, well, hey, we kind of like this bread better. Can we all just so then everybody was just eating sourdough. So everybody changed to sourdough in the house.
Yeah.
It is an adjustment to change things. Sometimes, like, the thing I miss the most is pizza.
Yeah, she can't have pizza. It's like not for her.
Because it's a double hit. Yeah. There's yeast in the crust, and the sauce is all about the tomatoes.
Yeah.
So pizza is like a huge. Now, granted, if I eat it, I'm going to survive. I'm just probably going to feel like crap for a couple days.
Couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days usually, because it's like an allergic reaction within your body. So, and I know there are some things, like, I'm sure people out there probably know more about this than me. I know that there's like some herbs you can take to help, or different things you can take for your body to like assist if you do have something. I haven't personally gotten that far into things. I will say in the about year and a half it's been since I've known about the allergies, I've eaten pizza one time, and I did pay the price.
Like 3 or 4 times.
Once.
Okay, once. She's right.
I'm right. And it's so, but that's what it is. But it's not that hard after a little bit.
Yeah, it's an really adjustment. It really is.
Yeah.
You know, Taylor's are a lot more serious.
Yeah,
so she's got more of an adjustment.
Gluten and casein, which is the protein in milk.
Yeah, so it's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things. And also, this is not a forever thing. So I think that's what people think too, is that like some of these things could be for forever. Some of them might be. And likely, like, especially with her, it being younger and things like that, her allergies might not stay this way forever. She very well may be able to be just fine with casein or gluten later in life. And so doing the elimination diet, a big part of the elimination diet is reintroduction.
Yeah.
So eventually, you want to get to a point where you start slowly reintroducing some of these things to see if your body's still going to react negatively to them or not.
So you would reintroduce it. You wouldn't necessarily like do the test again in the future. You could just maybe like later.
I mean, you could if you wanted to,
but
if
that's
you
not like,
wanted
oh,
to
look,
know.
it seems like you'd be fine for that now.
Yeah, you could if you did the test and it didn't have any reaction. But I don't think, you don't know exactly, but they probably wouldn't recommend you just go like hog wild and like, oh, you're good with milk now, and just go like drink a half a gallon of milk.
Go to the state fair and stand by that tanker truck and just guzzle milk.
Probably be running to the porta john.
Oh, like
it
I'm
would
good
be a
with
bad
a solid cold glass of milk, right, with dinner or whatever.
Right.
But like, I don't need more than that. Nope.
Right.
It's like, it's good.
Yeah.
Just like, milk.
Right. It is crazy. And I didn't know that a lot of times, if you have like an upset stomach, right? You're like, oh, you usually, right? No, I forgot what I was going to say.
If you do,
a lot of times we go, oh, what did I eat? But we think like, oh, there was something bad on the food versus maybe my body doesn't like that food.
Yeah.
So
like when you go to Mexico.
Well,
is it like that same situation?
It's a little different.
Oh,
because actual food poisoning, you're gonna be sick.
Oh yeah,
right.
You're gonna hate life.
You're it's not like, ooh, I got an upset stomach and I better. You might turn green and you're probably right. You're on like knocking on the door.
Oh, that sounds awful. You're like, if you just make me better, God, I'll go to church on Sunday.
I'll never do anything bad again. Thanks, babe. Thanks for that.
Like, but you don't have to. That was twice in this episode.
Twice in this episode, we got a fart.
Those were fake, but maybe they weren't.
You never know.
Trisha's like that. Got real quiet. Oh my God.
This is my life.
Yeah. This is my wife. So yeah, there's probably somebody still listening somewhere.
Right? What do we got? We got some.
What else can we say?
Well, I guess on that note, I think that's been our experience. If you have anybody has questions about that, or where I went to get my testing done, or that type of stuff, I'm happy to share. Just reach out and I'll share what I know. I'm definitely no expert. I just try to
if you can help direct someone to the right place or direct them to the place to benefit, man, that's huge.
Yeah.
This is a good thing to find out.
It is. Because I don't think that, I think about how many doctors I went to and never once did a single one of them think about testing for allergies.
What would they do?
In my food. They were trying to diagnose a disease. It was always, we think you have this disease. There was nobody even told me it could be a fruit allergy until like 2 years ago.
So the whole time they're like,
and
trying to diagnose a disease. Like as if a car came in the shop and it's got some weird glitch and I'm trying to diagnose it, but it's got wrong fuel,
Right.
And
right.
I'm making up all kinds of stuff, but it's like,
and you're like, well, it must be the fuel pump, or it must be the compression, or it must be right. Like, and it was just the wrong thing being put in the whole time.
Yeah. So if you're a doctor and you're listening, something to think about.
Yeah. Please start testing for food allergies.
Stop popping pills.
Yeah. Because I took a lot of prescriptions that didn't help.
Right. Well, that's the thing, man. We know this is an issue, and it can be solved in, I would think, a lot of different natural ways versus just rifling medications. Even if it's vitamins are not medications to me.
No, because they're naturally occurred in substances, especially if you're making sure you're getting good quality vitamins.
Right.
They're things your body all knows what to do with. It's all naturally occurring things that happen.
I heard of another similar test like this where it's like you send in a swab, they do this whole thing, and then they send you back like what you're deficient on.
Yeah. Yep.
Or something like that. And so your whole life, like what you're deficient on and what you need to
supplement
or that's what it was. So then what supplements to take. And so you could like take all these ones that you're deficient on and kind of, I don't know, in theory, right, be be up to par.
You should be, or at least
Right.
a lot closer, a lot better,
Yeah.
you know, have a better chance of being the best you can be,
Right.
getting all the right ingredients.
Right.
If you think about it, if like anybody who bakes, if you leave an ingredient out of any recipe of any kind, it doesn't matter if you're fixing a car or baking a cake or whatever you're putting together, assembling something on an assembly line, if you leave an ingredient out,
Yep.
it's not going to work right at the end. It might work okay.
You're not going to get the same results.
You're not going to get the same results.
Right.
And I don't think our bodies are any different.
I agree. Sensitive little soft machines running through a hard world.
Yes, we are.
Somehow mostly making it.
Yeah. Mostly, right?
Mostly.
Mostly.
You are till you aren't.
That's true. That's true. Very true. We do the best we can. And we try to teach our kids that too, like try to just be mindful. Nobody's perfect. You can't be perfect either. I think that's why a lot of people kind of like fail at their diet or at their goals in general, right? Like if you don't achieve a goal, if you set a goal and if you get farther than you were when you set that goal, you've achieved something. So you didn't fail. You just didn't make it all the way.
Make a new plan and keep going.
Make a new plan, keep going. I don't like the black and whiteness of pass fail or good, not good, bad, pass fail, black, white.
So I can add to this. I used to really hate, like in the okay, we can just say like in the repair industry.
Yeah.
I used to really hate like when you would do a job, you go through the whole job on a particular car. Let's just say it was a water pump. You do the whole thing, you got it all cleaned up, you're done with the car, it's out. Well, this water pump has a failure, right? It's no good from the get-go, or
bad new parts,
whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going back through and doing that same thing a second time for me for a long time was always so painful. I don't know why, right? You could have a totally different of the same car, same job or whatever, and like, yeah, happy to do it. Lovely. Right. But doing that same thing for a second time, I haven't really figured it out, but I think I'm sort of figuring out it's like something to do with like redoing something that you already spent time like really crafting well and like taking the time to make sure it's clean and do the thing, and then you just like blah, make a big mess and like kind of have to redo it again. You know, and it's
everything
like,
you just did. Yeah.
The first time I would just put everything into it, and the second time you're like, yeah, I'm still going to do that again, but it's just kind of like I don't know.
I wonder if it's like that feeling of like you got nothing for your work.
It could be because like sometimes I'll bend exhaust, right? I'll be making this tailpipe that's like 6 feet long, and you start off one bend, second bend, third bend, and then once you get to like the fourth bend, let's say you know, because if you're the only person holding this thing, sometimes you try to mark it, and then you go to the machine and you bend it, and if your mark was like
just a little bit
slightly off, and all of a sudden it kicks the pipe totally into the gas tank type of thing, right? You're like can't use this.
That
and it's
pipe
like
is
sometimes
done.
It's so hard to start over fresh because you already put 30, 40, 50 minutes into that one pipe, getting all the different bends and angles and getting it just where it needs to be. And then to just basically throw it in the corner and start fresh with another 6-foot piece and going after it. It's so hard. Okay. Yep. You reset, take a deep breath, do it again. But I've also learned that it gives you a second shot to do it even better.
Yeah.
And we've learned that with this podcast already. A couple of weeks ago, we recorded a whole episode. Now we're talking about Wallaway and all this stuff. And you know what? It didn't record any of the voices whatsoever. Nothing. And so
missed a setting and none of the audio recorded.
Okay, wow. Well, you know, it didn't even really get mad. It was just like, hey, take a deep breath. Guess what? When you do something the second time, like you will do it better than you did it the first time.
Yeah.
Right? I think so. And so you go back through, you just do the whole thing again, and maybe just like kind of don't say the whatever you thought was something you shouldn't have said on the first one or whatever.
Right.
And so doing something second time, I think, gives you an opportunity to do a really good job again, even though it's not always.
I feel like you're already halfway there.
You're halfway there,
right? Yeah. If you got to do it a second, you're already halfway there.
You're halfway there. Just lay it down, have a good attitude, do it again, whatever that laying it down is.
Right. Whatever that is.
And then everybody's good. You move forward and you move on to the next project.
Right. But I think that negative feeling you get is like, I don't want to say you don't get any, maybe not getting anything is the wrong way to put it, but
like it's almost a failure,
like a wasted part of your time, right? Like that you know, your work didn't complete. It was just kind of a waste of work there.
Right. And depending on how,
but that's only if you look at it that way. But I think that's, that's kind of the natural inclination of how that feels.
Right.
So you really got to train yourself to say, that wasn't a waste because, like you said, now I already know how to do 3/4 of the pipe.
Yep.
I can even do it better
Right.
this time.
Right.
And then really get this end of it, so it's not a waste. You learned a bunch doing it wrong the first time or messing it up the first time or whatever.
I'm like, because I would do a second one, I would do this certain thing
Right.
just a little different. So now
Right.
you're going to do that.
Now you're going to do that.
Yep.
Right.
So it gives you a chance to do it again and,
Yep.
look at it a little different way. And
exactly. Doing something twice, there's nothing necessarily wrong with having to do it twice.
no. Yeah. Speaking of that, we can finish up this episode with talking about our new mailbox.
Oh.
So at a car show a couple weeks ago, we entered a raffle. We just put your little ticket in the bucket. So we bought a handful of these tickets and we put them in the bucket to win this kind of flamed up mailbox.
Well, they had 3 mailboxes that were custom mailboxes, like somebody painted them.
Yep.
And there was one that was all like flamed up, and then the other 2, I don't remember what they were, but we were like, I don't want either of those.
We were both like
I don't,
because we already knew we needed a new mailbox. Our post on ours is like broken, and so it was like, we could. Who knows? Do we need a new mailbox?
It was a cool
too?
mailbox.
I don't know.
It looked
we're
cool.
like, we'll put our tickets in there, and then when they did the drawing at the end of the day, Trish come running back over, and she's got the mailbox in her hand.
I was very excited about a mailbox.
We got it. We got it.
I was definitely extremely excited.
We've had some fun at some of these banquets and car shows.
We have done really well at banquets.
Yeah, we won that whole saddle setup at the bow hunting deal. That was cool. And then this one, we got this mailbox. So then,
it's been a good year there.
So then we got this mailbox, right? And it's just here for a couple of weeks, kind of sitting on the shelf, looking cute. And all of a sudden, I had the idea to make a stand for it, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make my own stand for this, being that we do custom exhaust here. And I was like, all right, so grabbed a piece of 2.5 inch, bent it a couple times, made it for the post, and then I made a little mount for the mailbox to actually go over that piece, and then I mounted it up on there, and then I started making like what would looks like little headers off like a hot rod sticking out the side. And so kind of like formed them all on there, welded them all good, made them all nice and even, welded everything up. And when that was all done, everything was looking sweet. We brought her over to Magnetic Coat Nice Annie for a little custom powder coating, and he did a bronze chrome color on
It's
there.
pretty cool.
It turned out cool, and in the sun, it's really cool. So it gives it like a stainless steel look, but even better than that, I think. So it's nice. Turned out better than ever.
It's pretty cool.
So we got that now ready to go get mounted. We've just been kind of busy and haven't done it, and I didn't want to do it when I had to rush off to the next thing because I just wanted to like install it and then admire it for a little while because it's gonna be cool. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
It's gonna be like if you're walking your dog, you're gonna be like,
you're gonna comment on this.
I can't stop looking at this thing, dude.
You're gonna be like, how much time did that person put into?
We'll try to put a picture on here. There shouldn't be a problem with that. We'll throw a little picture on here of the finished product.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so
we're excited.
We'll get this thing mounted, our little hot rodded, headered up mailbox. So.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff.
Yep.
For sure. Good times. This is this is all part of the deal with us.
Yeah, that was Sunday, right? I was like, I'm gonna go make that mailbox. I went out in the garage at like 8 in the evening. I was out there till 11, and then the next day I put like another hour in, and it was like, hey, I'm done. You're like, I don't even know what to say. I guess I'll take a look. And she was like, oh my God. So yeah, it turned out good, and we're gonna put that thing in the ground. But yeah, we're gonna get rolling here. You guys, thank you for listening. And
thank you. And let us know if there's something you want to hear about, or if you have questions. We're gonna be lining up another guest here pretty soon. We've got some people that are gonna be
I'm just trying to line up schedules to get a couple of people on here. We got some interesting people, so definitely
more interesting stuff for you coming up, and we'll definitely be talking to you soon.
Heck yeah, keep her in that fast lane. See you guys.